Away my channel. So today I want to talk to you about how you can increase your functional threshold power or your FTP without having to do any intervals. So the things that I'm talking about here is either going on a hard group ride or just doing a race. So I want to give you an example and just explain to you briefly how this is actually beneficial for your threshold power. So let's start by drawing a graph here. So we're going to start with the x-axis here. Oh, sorry, the y-axis. I've done my maths so long ago. I mean, I finished school like 11 years ago. So bear with me here. And then we're going to draw the x-axis. So let's put power here on the y-axis. And let's say the functional threshold power of the athlete is 300 watts. So we'll make the FTP line here, just the little dashes, and put it here at 300, and put this in watts, and let's put the little arrows here, just to make it look a little bit cooler, and here we'll put the time. So let's say this hard group ride or this race, let's make it a race just to make it a little bit more fun. Let's say the race is 4 hours long. So we'll put here 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. Okay. And here we'll put 600 watts. And let's put here 150. Okay, so I'm not going to include the sprints in this because I'll just go right off the page, but let's just smooth it down to the longer efforts. So in a race, what's going to happen, what you're going to find is that the normalized power of your race is going to be around zone 3. So it's going to be like the same effort as a long tempo ride. Now if it's a 4 hour race, you can expect the intensity factor to be between 0.8 or okay, not equals, let's say 0.8 to 0.85. So that's some pretty serious training stress score. You can be expecting to get between 280 and 300 TSS for a hard 4 hour race. So how is that actually going to look like on the graph? Okay, so as we know, the power meter is stochastic, so you're going to have a graph kind of looking like this. And then let's say they hit the first Cat 1 climb for the day. It's going to be like this. There might be a surge or two, and then they'll bring it back down, keep going on the Cat 1 climb, maybe above threshold power and below threshold power, because that's quite a long effort there. And yeah, so then they hit the downhill and it drops down to nothing. Maybe it peaks a little bit, and then they hit the flat road and they might be under threshold because they're sitting in the bunch. And then there's a big attack, try and follow the attack, and then get in the breakaway and just staying maybe a little bit under threshold, hitting a climb again, going over threshold, short climb, and then chilling on the downhill again, and then maybe just keeping it here under threshold to the end of the stage where the dude attacks. And then he just time trials the end and gets a solo victory. So this is more or less the type of power curve you can see in a race. It's just all over the place, lots of time spent at threshold or under threshold, just below threshold and over threshold. So how does this work? Well, the thing is that when you're going to do really high intensity training that's at threshold or above threshold, the more time that you spend at or above that zone, theoretically the higher your FTP is going to become, because your body has to adapt to that really high intensity training. So a race like a 4 hour race, for example, could mean that you are spending 1 hour or more at or above your threshold. And as you can imagine, this is going to increase your maximal power across all the zones. So you're going to be developing your zone 7 power, zone 6 power, to anaerobic power and your aerobic systems. And this is going to be the easiest way to do it, because you're going to have so much stimulation in the race, so that you're going to want to push yourself harder and push deeper, and you're going to be spending a lot of time at or above your threshold, and in turn you're going to see the most rapid increase in your threshold power. And this just makes it a lot more fun, and therefore it takes care of the motivation. You're just going to want to push yourself to the max. You're going to push yourself beyond the limit, and you won't be able to do this with interval training, especially when you're on your own. If you've got other people in interval training, it's similar to a race, but when doing racing, it's probably the most effective way that I can think of to increase your threshold power in a short amount of time. You can expect a boost in threshold power within 3 weeks. Finally, I wanted to add that you can keep your racing or hard group ride frequency to 1 ride a week. This is so that you can make it sustainable for the whole year. Think about it. If you are doing 1 hard ride, 1 race a week, then that's going to be 52 hard rides for the whole year. And that's a lot of racing, a lot of hard riding. So you want to do it so that you can keep it going for a long time. And if your race is less than 2 hours, if your hard ride's less than 2 hours, then you can do some other intervals earlier in the week if you feel that you can do that as well. If you see that your power at high intensity is dropping down, then just take it easy for a week, just do recovery rides and keep the intensity minimal. It's always better to be fresh and slightly undertrained than to be fatigued and overtrained. If you like my content and you feel you've received value from it, feel free to donate whatever value you feel you've received. Your donations help me to keep doing what I love and to create better shit. Thanks for the support.